Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? Welcome to my channel. I am really excited to be here today to help us make a little more sense of everything that's happening. I don't talk about politics on my channel very often, but I just want to contextualize what's happening because I think it's really important for us to understand how to be present in this state with everything that's happening. It really doesn't matter whether you're happy with the election results or not. And it's not just the US, this is happening everywhere. The division is everywhere. And it's really easy to point fingers and to say they are the problem. And now that they are in power, we are going to suffer. And I want you to really be careful about adopting that point of view in that vision. Despite everything that we know, we are sovereign beings and we are going through some tremendous up-levelings in our consciousness, shift of an era, whether you look through astrology, through spiritual wisdom of many different cultures. There is a really powerful shift happening right now. And the elections and all of these issues where there is a divide, the 50-50 divide, they, unfortunately, this could trigger some people, but they are distractions. They distract us from focusing on ourselves and from focusing on what am I as an individual supposed to do to evolve? What am I supposed to do to create well-being around me? And that's where I really believe that what I teach is really powerful, because as our institutions start crumbling, and they're going to, everything that's happening is just pointing to how dysfunctional everything really is, and how we really need to shift the locus of power from them to us. It's not about the leaders. We can't look up to leadership anymore. We have to look inside and find the strength to be our own leaders. We have to get away from the institutions and from hospitals and find ways to stay healthy ourselves. We have to stop pointing fingers and see where we can create the sustainability, the communities, the systems of support, how we can create health and well-being on an individual level and within our small communities. I think that's where we're heading. And so the sensefulness method that I've created is precisely about reconnecting with this wisdom that's within our body, within our energy field, within our minds, that can really guide us. We are endowed with an incredible body that's constantly communicating with us. We have many more than just the 5 senses that we know about. Those are just the external senses, the sight, the smell, the touch. We also have interoception, so we are aware of what's happening inside our body, and it's a constant feedback loop between the external environment, what happens in the external environment, and how our body reacts to it. Now, the first step in creating health and well-being is really understanding what is happening on the inside and how all these perceptions can create certain chemical reactions and shift our body into certain states. So whether we are seeing real things happen in our environment or whether we are seeing imaginary stories, whether they're made up fake news or things that you pollute your mind with, all of that our brain interprets as reality. So having extreme care with what you consume these days in terms of your mind is extremely important. So once you see whatever is happening, whether it's real or fake, your body creates and produces chemicals to communicate to your brain how to react to the certain stimulus. And everything that we're seeing around us is about stress and anxiety and panic and fear. When we vibrate those negative states and when we produce the chemicals that correspond to those things. It's not just a vibe, you know. I'm not talking about raise your vibe in a empty sense of the word. On a scientific and physical level, when you're vibrating fear, for example, you're producing cortisol. And cortisol is the most dangerous and, you know, destructive chemical that your body can ever experience. And when you're experiencing that cortisol, you are poisoning yourself. You're creating disruption in your endocrine system, in your digestive system, in your immune system. It stops working. And all you're ready for is fight or flight. Our society has been conditioning us to be in a fight or flight mode. Whether on purpose or not, I don't want to go into that right now, but there is a very strong need for us to learn how to get out of that fight or flight mode, because that's where not only we're going to think more clearly and make appropriate decisions as to how to react to certain real situations that are happening, but we also will create a harmonious environment. This equilibrium in our body will shift from the sympathetic to parasympathetic state in our body, which is about relaxation. And that relaxation is the most important state, again, for all of your systems to be healing your body. It also is the state, when we talk about manifestation, it is the state where you enter in resonance with the higher frequencies and you start attracting a different reality into your life. Now, this may sound very woo-woo to some people, but science is coming closer and closer to explaining how, you know, attracting these different things into your life works. Synchronicities are real, and raising your vibration and seeing your reality shift is very real as well. So the first step, as I said, is awareness. Realizing what is happening in your body at all times and in your mind, and understanding how your thoughts and what you're watching and what you're seeing and what you're hearing is affecting your inner state. The second step is really understanding that what you've created is a temporary chemistry unless you allow it to take control of you, and allowing these things to shift. It's a temporary state. So if you're experiencing any negative states, anxiety, stress, fear, anger, all of those are very real chemical circulating through our body. But we are able to expel them from our body in a number of ways. One way is with movement. Movement and sweating is the best way for you to release a lot of these chemicals. And that's how our ancestors did it. They experienced stress and they immediately released it. The second way is in making noise. You know, the screaming, the crying, the tears are actually the best way for you to release a lot of these chemicals through your tears, through that water that comes out with the chemicals. Drinking lots of water, good water. You need to be drinking that faucet water that we have in most cities is poisonous. We need to be drinking mineral water filled with all the minerals and nutrients that our body requires to replenish itself. And the more hydrated you are, the more you're able to allow your body to really release these toxins from your body and out into the environment. To create a harmonious state in your body. Breathing is one of the most important ways, together with stretching and making your muscles loose. Why? When we're in a fight or flight response, our body is in constriction. It goes into tight muscles to fight, to run away, shallow breathing, because in those states, that's what you need. But if you start breathing consciously, deeply, your belly, expanding your belly when you breathe, you know, it's really important, because then your diaphragms, the two diaphragms, create more space, and they start working with your vagus nerve to communicate to your basal ganglia, which is the ancient part of the brain, that there is no danger. So if you breathe slowly with your belly, then you are going to go back to the parasympathetic response in your body, which is the healing and relaxation mode, which we all need so desperately. The other thing is you have to start learning to control your mind more. And by control, I don't mean to ignore your thoughts, but to understand that your thoughts are not you, and creating that little space between that negative thought that's not the best one, catching yourself having the thought, deciding that you don't want to be that thought, and really not reacting to it, not allowing that thought to translate into the chemicals in your body. So really, when you create that pause between what you think and especially how you act as a result of your thoughts, and you create that space and you allow to take that deep breath and say, oh, I don't have to have that thought, and constantly shift from negative to positive, from the dark to the light thoughts. That's really important, because thinking the positive thoughts, you allow your body to experience relaxation with the oxytocin, with serotonin, with all the feel-good hormones. And when you are allowing for that space, this is done through meditation, but also through self-awareness, through understanding that you don't have to react to everything you see or hear, that you are in control, you are a sovereign being, and all of that you see is illusory in a certain way, right? So the ultimate reality is within you. And when you are able to really create that awareness, then all of a sudden you start choosing your thoughts very carefully. And when you have certain thoughts, you redirect them. And that space that you create between your thought and the action completely shifts your brain states as well. It takes you from the beta, the really chaotic wavelength, which is like the fast wave, into alpha, delta, or the healing waves, the waves where you awaken your left brain for more creativity, for really connecting to your intuition, for really becoming aware and seeing the space around you. A lot of times, those states, that negative states we enter, we have a very narrow vision of just the problem and the challenge. So really opening your vision to perceiving all the possibilities, even when there is a problem. So again, yes, we might be unhappy with everything that's happening in this world, especially now after elections. I know a lot of you are unhappy about this, but take this opportunity to realize they don't determine how you get to feel, or what you get to produce today, or what you get to experience. If you are unhappy with the medical system, it's the same thing. You come home and you realize that lifestyle and your behaviors and what you eat and how you feel and what you consume determines 80 to 90% of your health and well-being. This is science. 7 out of 10 killers in the modern world are related to lifestyle changes: sedentarism, stress, terrible eating habits. So if we shift those three, we're gonna take care of most of the problems. And if it's difficult for you to see what's the right diet, what's the right, just think about our ancestors and think about what our body evolved in a certain way. It evolved to be constantly in nature. It evolved to be inside sunlight. It evolved to be moving all the time. It evolved to be resting a lot. It evolved to be eating natural plant-based foods with some meat that comes from the wilderness. And so if you think in those terms, everything becomes really simple, really, really simple. If it is still challenging, I do very different kind of modalities. Like after this video, I have a client coming in for us to cook, to remember how it is to create this flow and creativity when you connect with the real foods and transform them into delicious dishes. I do like coaching and mindset shifts and connecting you guys to your intuition more, reawakening that pleasure and desire of what drives you from the inside. So it's a very, very complete and interdisciplinary work that I do. Unlike anything you've probably seen out there, sometimes it's very hard to explain what I do, but it really is this transformation that I love leading people through to regain your sovereignty and understand that you are creating your own reality. You are in charge of how you feel and what you create, and your health and well-being. No one out there is responsible for that, and I think it's time we finally take control of that. I will start having weekly sessions. First, they're going to be free of charge, so I'm going to announce that in writing, and please sign up to be part of this growing community for us to talk about the different themes, for me to give you like very specific tools that you can practice on a daily basis, because it's one thing to learn this in a conceptual form and another thing to actually practice this. And I really encourage you to practice these little things on a daily basis and see how your life transforms. You become the experimenter and the experimentee, and see your life transform every step of the way. I love you all very much. I'm wishing you a very blessed weekend, and I hope that you will come closer to regaining this sovereignty, understanding that you are the creator and you have all the tools you need to feel better today. Lots of love. Thank you.